Legends. My brother is here. We're heading. Yeah. This is what Holly mean here. Yeah. We're heading towards Crust Pizza to pick up the boys. Mike Barrera posted an interesting route. He wants to do part of the forest, which is always welcome. Yeah. But they're thinking about stopping at Taco twice. So the first stop, what we're gonna do is keep spinning, because we don't need to stop that early. Right. And then hook up with them when they're done. So we'll get some clips for you all. Should be very interesting.
Right.
On this ride, Paul and I left Northampton. We rode into the woodlands. We picked up Team RR. The plan was to just ride into the forest. We started on Fishcreek, had a great pace line. All of a sudden, WCC shows up. These guys threw the plans out the window. And all through that stretch, we were all over the road like homeless people. So we just rode by ourselves and went past Montgomery, turned off the camera, went up 149. Once we got up to Fawn Forest, we did a little bit of a loop there and came back on Bethel. When we exited the forest, we decided to take the Gorilla route. That's all off camera. And then we took Johnson Road back to 1097. By then the wind was out. We stopped at Taco, refueled, went back 2854 into Keenan. We stayed on 2854 to Honia, Egypt, to Leah Drive, and took Fish Creek back in. But what I wanted to focus on today was to just specify that when your group has a plan, try to stick with it. Don't just jump and change everything you do because you see somebody you didn't plan to ride with show up.
Oh, come on, you're supposed to be on my wheel.
We're on Research Forest. I thought he was talking to me, but he was actually talking to the guys behind there. There are some guys up the road. We got separated at the light.
I'll take a pull.
I was telling them. Yeah.
So he was telling Doug and them they were supposed to be on his wheel because they said, let's catch up. And so in a little bit, you'll see Doug come by, lift the pace.
There we go. Let's go.
I had very good legs today. Your bike is supposed to be quiet when you're riding. You should just hear your tires, nothing else. Noise means something's up. You got to look into it. So in a few kilometers, when we get on the open road, you'll see what I'm talking about. The guys forget about that. We had a nice pace line. Everybody was taking their cuts, just nice and steady. And then WCC guys show up, and they just threw everything out the window. Basically, the baby with the bath water, and we're just all over the place. And the guys were taking a little bit of some risks, because if you got 20 guys and 3 people turn in front of a car, well, you got 17 of us that got to get through. So if you make that turn, you're not thinking about us. And so I just decided going to hang back and do our own ride. You'll see it develop, but you need to stay with your plan, stay disciplined. These are the guys who we're riding up to. We got separated at the light before the camera was on. And so Paul, myself, and Austin, we rode into Montgomery together. There was a stretch on Mill Route where Abby, who's one of the people that jumped with WCC, after they wasted their time, because what happened on Rabon Chapel, the WCC guys decided to take a health break out in the open on the highway. I mean, like, that's not the spot I would stop on. But then they were like, okay, you followed them, so now you stopped with them. We just kept going. You'll see that. So it's kind of like you don't know what they're doing. You just jump on their train. They hook up with, if they come up on us and they want to ride with us, then they need to ride with us and follow our path like they did a few weeks ago. Follow the route we're going. But these guys, they went with them and then they decided to stop on Rabon Chapel to use the bathroom. Like, that's an odd spot to stop. So everything just kind of went helter-skelter after that. This group has definitely gotten faster over the last 12 to 18 months. And so it's fun to ride with them. So on Sunday, I rode with a smaller section of this group, not the regulars, Mary and Paul H. And we did a more of a subdued ride, and we showed them some back roads that they were not familiar with. It stayed overcast somewhat. You can see the cloud, the nice cloud cover. It was nice and cool. It says 23C. And when we went out there, you could feel cool breezes while we were out there. So it was very pleasant. Up until about 11 a.m., the sun didn't really bear down on us until around that time. This is Egypt Lane. We're getting out of town. I have to talk these guys into using Honia, Egypt to get out of town. I like that road.
I didn't put my foot down though. That wasn't a legal thought.
I'm not sure what they're talking about. This is kind of a lane that is just a turning into that shopping center, and I think there's a little daycare here. It doesn't go very far. The lane ends, but it's nice that they added that in that corner, you know. That's John Malbrick on my left. We call him Clément Champoussin from the AG2R Citron La Mondiale team. They ride similarly. They have a similar way when they're riding hard, how their movement on the bike. You would see me talking to him about it. And I would tell him, even Merckx, when Merckx used to climb the mountains, he would be rocking, you know, just say whatever gets you up that incline or over that obstacle. Do what you got to do. Everybody's got their own style. He says car back. I looked in my mirror and I told him, let's just take the right lane. But sometimes we spread out across both lanes. You shouldn't do that. Pick a lane and take that lane. This is 1488. We were going to try to make the light, but it changed. So I'm going to go to the right and push the pedestrian button, which guarantees that you get a cycle. You get a green on this side. I'm waiting. There's a car in that lane. After that guy turns, then I go and I push the button. I like to do that, especially when I ride solo, to make sure you get the light to change for you if there's no other road user in a car behind you, because sometimes it will skip you if you don't. It doesn't pick up bikes. They got those sensors in the pavement, but they don't always pick up bikes.
Where was Woodland Cycling Club going this morning? Pretty much the same as yeah.
John's talking about the WCC
the other guys
guy.
are gonna start at Kroger and do 40-mile loops. The FOF guys. SOS and friends of friends.
Like I want to put it like those down.
What this does is it's push bar. Yeah, your perspiration.
We're talking about the arm sleeves I'm using. I really like them. They work. Keep the sun from. I've been getting a little more sensitive to the sun, so when it's super hot like this, high UV exposure, I wear arm screens, and those are comfortable. Gabby and another rider, they waited for us. They had made the light and we didn't. I'm telling him why we call him Clement Champoussin. That bobbing up and down that he does when he's going up the hill. He's laughing about it. That's what we're talking about. Now I'm going to mimic Merckx. I was telling him, I said, you know, people ride differently. Merckx will be pulling on the bars, you know, each time he would power down. So everybody's got their own little gait. Like Pantani will get in the drops when he's going up the hill. I tried that and I can't do it. I can't get in the drops when I'm climbing. That's what Merckx would be doing. Yeah, that's what I'm telling. I said Merckx would be rocking. When you look at the old films, when I'm climbing, I got to be on the hoods or on the tops. I can't get in the drops for an extended period unless I'm out of the saddle trying to get over a pitch or something. Patani would be in the drops, dropping people. I used to enjoy watching him.
Slow in.
The El Pirata. It's clear. I let him know it's clear. And what I'm talking about that will happen later, and we'd get a split in the group, is that when you go through an intersection and you got 10 or 12 people behind you, if it's not safe for all of you, then yeah, if you make it, they might not, then you'd have to wait for them. But most of the time, make a decision based on whether the rest of the people can get across. So if only 2 people can get across on a left turn or something, and you're in a group, slow the group down and wait till that vehicle or whatever goes by so all of you can go through. And you will see how we get split up out there near Capitol Road. These guys act like they're in a race or something. I'm like, I'm not going to cut in front of a car just to hang with somebody. Because we're right there. We're all riding together and they act like we're not riding together. That's another reason I'm like, so why are you following them? If they're going to act like you're not there, don't follow them. You're riding with people. You need to ride with people. So I don't get that. We're approaching the open road. The FM 2978 in Montgomery County, Texas, Northwest. I think it's Northwest Harris County, actually. The county lines are kind of blurred here. You can go a block, you're in another county, and you go left, and you're back in Harris County. So I think this is probably still Harris County. There's Fishcreek Blvd. This stretch of it, they call it Honia, Egypt, until you get to that light. Then the name changes. I go ahead and take the lead because Jonathan was hesitating. I guess he was waiting for everybody to get together. I'll go ahead and take the lead and watch the speeds. It's about 20 miles an hour. I'm going to just edge it up a little bit, give people a chance to catch up. So it's like 22, 23. I'm going to keep it there. I'm looking in my mirror, making sure everybody kind of gets up to speed because we're all riding together. It's not a bicycle race. Clement Champoussin, John Malbrick from the AG2R Citron La Mondiale team. I love the name of that team. You got to have a drink after you say their name. So you see, I'm keeping it right about 22, 23. Keeping my cadence, 90s, thereabout. And I've already decided I'm going to stay there until right before we go downhill and give somebody the chance to take over on the downhill. Now, there's nothing wrong with accelerating, you know, like the WCC guys do around corners and so forth, if that's the kind of riding you're doing, you know. So you got to kind of go with the character of your group. And you will see when they show up how much the character of everything changes here. This group just basically goes to hell. You know, it's like their pace is a little faster. We slip in, we're sitting there, but then they start turning in front of cars and all of that. And then once there's a split, they don't back off, even though the split was caused by traffic. And it's like, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep doing what I need to do. So it was kind of funny. I'm keeping things kind of steady. About 26 miles an hour. It's slightly downhill. The effort for me is the top of zone 2. Actually, quick sweet spot. Between zone 3 going into the bottom of zone 4. I'm using a higher cadence. Well, not very high, 90s. I pull off the front. Jonathan takes over. I'm going to drift all the way to the back. You don't want your speed to drop when you pull off, because you don't want to have to accelerate too much to get back in line. So you just let your speed drop slightly. I'm doing like 24 miles an hour. That way I can just slip in on the back. You can see my heart rate has dropped from 162 to 148. Since we're going downhill, I'm drafting. Very minimal watts are required to keep things rolling where I am. But Jonathan is putting out more watts because he's punching a hole in the wind up here. I'm behind about 5 or 6 other riders. After we go through the light, I realize that, oh, Paul is in third position here with the camera. I decided to come up, take the camera, film the group from the side, and then slip to the back holding the camera. The light changed to red before we got there. Now it's green. It's a short light because it favors the highway. I think it's somewhere after we get through this light, I'm going to come up and get the camera. Right here. I take the camera from Paul. I'm going to film everybody. There's Mike Barrera there. And that's Abby. He called me his cousin. I just gave him thumbs up. And I slipped to the back. Getting the camera nicely settled, and I think I'll stay a little to the left to get a good shot, because the ideal draft would be on that white line a little bit. This part of the road is a slight grade. You can see how much quieter it gets when I'm in the right part behind Darren here. You can really hide from the wind. But right here, I'm more interested in getting a good shot here. Jonathan's pulling off the front, and I believe Austin will take over. Abby's gonna tell Jonathan to get in. He leaves a gap, so Jonathan takes it. So we've got a nice pace line here. You know, we're doing between 22 to 23 miles an hour. Up this 1 to 3% grade. Just nice and steady. And there's very little appreciation for it. You will see how quickly they abandon this. So Austin took a short pull. He's getting off the front. I'm going to let him know I'm the last rider. I just told him, yep, or something like that. So he can slip in. You notice Austin did not pull very long. When you're not in top condition, you don't need to even pull at all. It's your choice. Your goal should be to finish with the group. If the group is faster than you can handle, you sit in. You roll through, get off the front, go to the back, slip back in. Don't be a hero taking a pull and then get dropped. That does not compute. This is not necessary. So I think we're approaching Ridge Lake Shores here. It goes up to about 3%. I think Paulie Longa is pulling at this point. I just remain seated, put it in the appropriate gear. So Paul has pulled off the front. I'm going to give him the camera. He's going to start to accelerate. I said, no, just take the camera. I think he thought I wanted him to get in front of me.
There you go, my brother.
He thought I meant for him to take the space. So I hand him the camera. keep the gears nice and supple, so I don't need to stand. And sometimes standing feels good, but it felt good to remain seated today. Somewhere around here, I believe the WCC guys finally catch up with us. Mo is now riding with them. I think we saw him out there on the way back. I think he went out early, and he probably hooked up with them at Taco Corner. Yeah, they are. They say good morning, everybody. And then Abby jumps on their wheel, and everybody else decides, oh, okay, let's lift our pace. So our pace line goes to hell. We should have just kept our pace line going because it was nice. So we lifted the pace a little bit. Now we're sitting on the WCC guys. You see Austin's body language? Every time he goes hard, he dips his head. He's digging deep because the pace has been lifted. And these grades, they bite. Every time the watts go over 300 watts, you're working. You can feel it. So you can see the pace has increased significantly. We're about 29, 30 miles an hour from 25, 26. I just went up one cog from where I was because I'm spinning around 90, I think, most of the time. We're going up the hill, so I leave it in the same gear and let my cadence drop a little bit in the 80s. Get a chance to catch your breath on the downhill, maybe take a drink. I'm staying a little to the left so I don't have to brake. It goes up here, then it levels off a little, and then we start the overpass. You can see it's still a slight grade. It will level off a little and then kick up when we get the bridge is not as steep on this side. When we used to use the other side, I think it had more of a pitch. You'll see the watts go up as we hit the overpass. I thought it was higher than that. I'm using a moderate gear and I'm revving it up. That's the best way to deliver power so that you can have repeatability. You see the speed? We flew up this thing. About 22, 23 miles an hour. And this is where we'll get a split in a little bit, in about maybe half a kilometer. We're going to be turning left. And they don't turn for everybody. You know, it can happen, but this is where I decided I'm going to let them go, because they were acting as if they said we're forcing ourselves on their wheel. You know, it's like, if you're riding with us, then ride with us and be concerned when you make turns and make sure it's safe. That's why I think it was a couple of weeks ago I had a title where I said fast, safe cycling. You don't have to be reckless because you're going fast on a bicycle. I checked for a car. There was a car there, but he actually slowed down to let us go because they just moved over in the front there. So right here is where the split will occur. You see how they're turning? And look at the car. It's right there. It's closer than it appears. So he ended up blinking his light for us to go because he saw us. But then look, they're continue to go. I'm like, in my mind, I'm not wasting my energy chasing them. That's why I told Paul. They turn in front of that car with knowing that there's 7 or 8 guys back here. I'm looking for the smoothest pavement on this road. Use your hips. Save your wheels. There's probably 7 or 8 of us here. In a little bit, when we get to the bottom of the hill, we see them waiting, but then they take off, and then there are cars coming from the left. So we have to wait for the cars again. Then you will see us queue up behind the cars, because all of a sudden we come across other cyclists that are also headed north that didn't start with us. And then we see them a few yards down the road. They've stopped to use the restroom after all of this. That's why you really got to know who you follow. The road's gonna start going up. I keep my gears supple. You'll see the watts hover around 300 watts. If you're not used to training 300 to 500 watts often and you have to do it in a group, it taxes you. So I'm using, most of the stress here is hitting my aerobic system. So as we approach the corner, I always look left because you can see you got a good sight line, and I let them know the car's coming. The riders have stopped, but they're off camera now. They just took off when they saw us coming. The same guys that went in front of that car up there. Well, we gotta wait for these guys. There's 2 of them. So we stop here.
Hey guys. Good. Now.
That turn is a grade. That's why you see the watts are high. 480 something just to get going. We're going to catch up to those cars, and we're going to sit on their tail because they're waiting to pass some other cyclists, not the ones that were with us. There are other cyclists headed north. The ones that are with us, to our surprise, have stopped and pulled off the road to pee. And this is not where you would do it because it's too open. But I guess they had to go. You see how it looks like my feet are slapping the pedals? When you're dialed in, that's the way it should be. There's the cars that pass us at the corner. We've caught up to them because they had to slow down because it's not yet safe to pass some other cyclists that are out here. Bob, and we even saw Mary and other cyclists that we ride with from time to time as well. And Paul H was out here too. So we're sitting behind them, and I drift back, and this is where we're gonna get separated from these three in front of us, because I'm thinking they're going to slow down, because I don't like to follow cars that closely. They ain't going that fast to where you need to draft them anyway. We're doing 15 kilometers. There they are. They cut in front of that car, caused a gap, and then they're over there peeing. That's Abby and the other, I think that's Peter. So we just keep going. Broke up our group's nice rhythm for nothing. We should not have followed them. We should have stayed disciplined and kept our rhythm. So at this point, I just decide we're going to just do our own thing, because those guys who were waiting for those cars to go, and they get this gap, and I'm like, I'm not chasing them. I'm just going to hold it. We ended up doing like 7 hours or so. So we got a long day in the saddle. So I decided we're just going to do our normal riding that we normally do. These are other riders that those cars were behind. That's Paul H there. And that's Neville. And then Mary and Bob.
Hey, Bob.
Those are the ones the cars were behind.
Yeah, I got it.
I decided to just keep it right around 20 miles an hour or so. I figured if we catch up with those guys, fine. If not, I'm not going to bother. Because we're all together a second ago. They act like we're not riding together. It's like, I don't understand how they ride. So when you're riding together with somebody, you stay on the lookout for them. You don't just ride like you're riding solo. They did the same thing one time. We went to the Heroes Ride. We all got to the ride. We took pictures and everything. The ride started, and everybody just scattered, which didn't make any sense. So we all ended up doing our own thing. And that's why we don't do official rides with them anymore, because they don't stay together. It's like, it's kind of like going on a date and leaving your date at the table and going and carousing with people you don't know. Who does that? So we just we don't do that. When we're riding together, we look out for each other, make sure that it's there, so you can see how much I'm spinning up this climb. That keeps your legs supple. I'm putting the power down, but I'm not killing my muscular system. I'm stressing my aerobic system. This is a nice long climb. I really like this road. Gotta stay smooth and steady. I shift up, take advantage of the downhill. This is a chance for you to drink, kind of catch your breath a little bit, and do it all over again. At this point, I'm only aware of Paul, and then when we approach the corner in about maybe 1,000 meters, he's going to come around, and then I'll notice that there's another rider there, and I find out later that it was Austin. So there are 3 of us here doing our own thing. 18 to about 20. That's what we're doing for the most part. I'm not looking at speed, just keeping the effort steady, right around sweet spot. This is like an all-day effort, pretty much. You can do this for a long time. We're turning right. When we turn, Paul's gonna come around. I downshift. I get the camera. He takes over. That's when I noticed that we had a third rider.
I know, just 3 of us.
I was gonna say, oh, it's just the 2 of us, and then I look, I said, oh, 3 of us. It's Austin, and the pace is good enough for him to get a workout, but he's not able to come through to take a pull. So we were aware of that, and that's why he left the gap, and I just slipped in behind Paul. In about probably 3 or 4 kilometers, Abby would show up and talk about, let's go. And we just ignore him. Let's go where? The guys you were chasing stopped to pee. You got tired of waiting. And now, so he's behind us riding because those guys took a long time to use the restroom. That's what happened when you follow people that are not in your plan. You don't know what they're doing. So now they stood on the side of the road with people they didn't plan to ride with, waiting for too long a time. And he ended up leaving them. And they will come back and pass us again off camera. You know, we just let them go. We did our own thing at that point. It's like, I'm not going to ride with people who are cutting in front of cars and knowing that you got people behind you. And, you know, it's too, you know, you shouldn't feel the need to do that. You let them go, whatever the group is. Don't take risks. So this was a good break when Paul came to the front. I got a chance to drink a little bit of water and kind of, you know, recover a bit before I go back to the front. We're going slightly downhill here. So the watts are low. Coming out, I think there's going to be a turn soon. Yeah, mill route. I'm setting up the camera for him so he can get it. I keep everything steady to keep our group of 3 together. I'm not going to make the same mistakes they made. I downshift here as the road kicks up. You don't lose that much speed. You downshift maybe 1 cog or so, and you lift your cadence. It saves your legs, but it keeps you on top of that gear as the grade kicks in. The road's going up. I'm on the tops because it's going up. I like being on the top when I'm climbing.
Hey.
That's Abby. He's talking about let's go. I just ignored him. Let's go where? Why am I going to follow you? So you can sit on our wheel? He doesn't like the pull. I just continue to hold the same rhythm we've been doing. The road is slightly downhill. As the road goes up, I pull back even harder and try to float through the pedal circle.
Car back.
Telling me car back lets me know this is not the time to pull off on the left.
Car back.
Austin says there was some urgency because I believe the car is coming around. Yeah. The guy was taking his time, whoever the driver is. He or she are taking the time. I downshift, keep my cadence up. You know, a little bit of road would level off. We're not going to stop. Once we hit the highway, Paulie Longer will come around and take the lead. I keep the gear rolling, keep the effort smooth. That allows everybody in the line to find a rhythm. Riding at a sustainable pace.
Clear.
Paul takes the lead. I get the camera. Austin is still behind. He leaves a gap. I slip in. This is the FM 2854 in northwest Montgomery County. We're headed towards Conroe, Texas. It's on the edge of Conroe and Montgomery. Montgomery is more on the west to the left. Conroe is to the right. Look at that! Look at the sky. That kept the sun at bay until probably about 11 a.m. You hear how quiet it is? I'm sitting right in the pocket. My tire actually went in the crack. I don't know if the camera showed it. Somewhere around here. Right there, I think I caught the crack. It wasn't that deep of a crack, so there were no issues. You see how Paul is placed about a foot away from the white line? That's perfect. It's not too dirty and you're visible. Paul keeps it steady here. I just plant the camera and just chill. I'm in zone 3. In a little bit, I believe those guys will come back. The ones that stopped to take a pee break. There they are. We don't lift our pace. We just keep going. Road levels off. We're going to be headed downhill. We can pretty much see those guys in the distance. They're not that far ahead. We're all going to get to the light at the same time, but we choose to stay behind a couple of vehicles. And another thing, I don't like to go around vehicles just to join other cyclists. I like to take my place in line. We're doing almost 27, 28, maybe 30. Well, yeah, it's 27 now. I just keep it nice and steady. They're right there in front of these cars. We'll just stay behind them. The light changes as we get here, and we'll just roll through. This truck is taking forever to go around. There are 3 riders on the right, Davis and a couple of other ladies. He has room to go. I don't know what he's doing. I'm telling you, waiting on go around him. There's nothing coming. Like, dude, make a decision. Sheesh. This is Lone Star Parkway. It kicks up. There are cars behind us, but I'm going to let them know that we're passing.
You got cars back? Yeah. One. Come on.
Always give cyclists you're not riding with a lot of room when you pass. They're not expecting you, and don't get in their space. We're probably doing about 17, 18 miles an hour here or something like that. This thing will go up to around 3%. I'll put it on a small chain ring, find the appropriate gear, so I'm not cross-chaining or even close to that. It's a nice little climb here, and if it's windy, it can pound you because nowhere to hide. So we had a very enjoyable ride once we decided to just ride instead of all the drama with chasing people around. So remember, stick to your plan and be careful who you follow. Make sure you know what they're doing. Otherwise, you're better off just doing your own thing. So I don't know what you guys did this Saturday, but this is part of what we did on Saturday. This is just a beautiful, beautiful day. Look at that sky. It was very pleasant. There were actually cool breezes out here when we were riding, which was just a nice surprise for this time of year. Now, if we could just get some rain, we'd be thrilled. Not too long without rain. So remember, get your K's in no matter what. And keep those doctors fired. We approach Taco Corner here, and Austin will ask whether I point that we're going straight. We're not going to Taco Corner. It's too early. We got 2 full bottles. We stop because we have a bad rep here. People running these lines. Yeah. So.
To the right. Are you not going to Taco? No. No. Oh, you guys break it off.
No, we're not.
Yeah. Okay, see you guys. All right, take care.
Yeah, so